Duke UCLA on paper sounds pretty good. You get pumped up for that?
Well, it's not so much pumped up about it. I hope we, there's always a little bit extra when you're playing Madison Square Garden and you get a matchup like UCLA and Duke. But, I hope we prepare and I hope we get ready for every game the same way so that the guys get consistency in how we approach things. Now, with that said, it's over the holidays. This is a game that we scheduled, so we're excited about this game, and it gives us about as good a measuring stick as we can get. We've had in Missouri our first road test, and now playing a top 10, 15 team in the country. It gives us two really good litmus tests of just exactly where we are before we go into conference season in about 2 weeks.
Steve, what's your relationship with Coach Cam?
Well, one of great respect. He played for Coach Knight, so I've got great respect for him from his heritage. And then as a coach, somebody that's been there one place, I've been in this business a long time, to stay at one place is not easy. To have the consistency and the success over decades that he's had, graduating his players, doing it the right way. He's one of those guys that I follow from afar. I watch a lot of not just his films that he's made, but watch an awful lot of game tape over the last 15 years of the Duke way of doing things. So there's great respect on my end of how he goes about running his program.
What did you do to get this game scheduled?
I can't remember who this is exactly, the contact that was involved, but when we were contacted and Duke's name was brought up as a possible neutral game in New York City, that was very appealing. Obviously a long way for us. We got great distance that we got to cover here, but to be able to play Duke in a neutral building and to get our guys in Madison Square Garden to take somebody like Kyle back closer to home, I think that's always big in recruiting when you recruit nationally, to get guys back closer to their homes. And so it was just a great game, and a game that was needed for our schedule that was already done. We felt like we needed a game like this.
What do you think of what you've seen of Jabari Parker, and how do you go about stopping a guy like that?
Well, he's tremendous, obviously, for a freshman to be putting up the numbers that he's putting up. It speaks volumes. There aren't a lot of freshmen doing that, and he's just very skilled. He's somebody that can beat you in transition. He can beat you in low post. He can shoot the three. He can beat you in just a variety of ways.
Will you ask one guy to defend him, or would it be kind of like a team effort?
We're still going through that. I'm sure multiple guys, just by the way we play, there'll be multiple guys defending him at the same time. But, it's not like you can send 2 or 3 guys at him. You got guys like Hood and Cook and a variety of other guys that, they're making 8 threes a game. So they do a very good job. I think Coach Krzyzewski over the years has done a masterful job of understanding spacing. And I've never thought, in my background, I always thought the most important part of offense was spacing. And Duke has as good a spacing to their offense as anybody we're going to play all year long. So with that, you have to guard more wood. And when you guard more wood, there's a lot more room for mistakes. And that's why our young defensive team is going to be put to a great maturity test here of how far we've come in the last 10 games.
When you were at Indiana, did you play against Duke?
Yes, our way to the championship. We played them in the regional semifinal.
Is this, have you coached against Mike?
Yes. When we were Sweet 16, when I was with Missouri State, we beat Wisconsin, Tennessee, and then our regional semifinal in New Jersey was Duke.
How much do you see similarities in Mike from your days at Indiana as a player versus now at UCLA as a coach?
Similarities in the Duke program?
Yes, in what he does. A lot of people have compared him to Wooden.
That I don't know. I just know his consistency. He's been very consistent. He's been able to change with the game, but they've been subtle changes to where he's got his concepts. He knows what he believes in, on the floor, off the floor, offense, defense, and he stayed true to those things, and he's recruited that way. And once he started having success, he got some of the best players in the country, and he's been able to consistently over time put his mark on the program, and they've done a great job of consistently winning, and that's not easy at this level.
Steve, you mentioned the Duke way. For you, the UCLA way. Is there something are there similarities that you see specifically?
Well, we're 10 games in and barely months into what we're trying to to put into place. And I will say I'm ecstatic of what our guys are doing. They're listening. They're teachable, coachable. They've been tremendous on the court, off the court. They're doing a great job in the classroom. Everything that we've thrown at them, they've been tremendous at. But we're young. This is we're taking small steps in the right direction, and really what we're trying to instill in our young men right now is develop habits. We're in that period of the year, a third of the way through the season. You're going to develop habits now that are either going to be good or bad. You're not going to be able to turn a switch on. And so that's what we're really focusing here over the break, over the next 3 games, next 120 minutes, next 2 weeks before we get to conference play, develop habits so that once we get into conference play, we don't have an ebb and flow of inconsistency. We know who we are, we know our identity, and we've created really good habits at both ends of the floor.
You said before, it's obviously a big week for Kyle. How important to this offense has he been, especially moving into that point guard role?
Well, I think there were a lot of questions at the beginning of the season, and we're only 10 games into it, but offensively, we're top 10 in just about every category offensively. We're averaging right at 90 points a game. We're shooting the ball at a high level. But I think the biggest, not so much surprise, but something that I'm most pleased with is how we're valuing the ball. We're averaging 19 assists to 10 turnovers. There are a lot of teams in the country doing that, and we're going to get a big test this week because of Duke's pressure defense. It gives us a different defense now to attack, but we got a lot of guys. Kyle, his assist turnover ratio is like 8 to 2. Bryce coming off the bench and helping what he does off the bench is like 3.5 to 1. So we're doing a really good job of valuing, taking care of the ball, and I think that always starts with the guy that's initiating your offense, and Kyle has a lot to do with that.
Do you still like Zach coming off the bench? Would you flirt with him starting soon?
Well, unless I'm going to go really small. Kyle's going to start, Norman's going to start, and George is going to start. Those 3 guards are terrific, and Zach has gotten off to a tremendous start in his freshman career. But Norman's playing extremely well. Jordan's our leading scorer at 21 points a game, and Kyle's our catalyst of running the show. So I'm not really ready to go to a smaller 4-guard lineup. I like our pace. I like our rhythm. I really just want to see our entire team mature defensively right now.
At this point last year, Kyle was kind of focusing on being a 3 or a 4, and that was kind of his role. Is it crazy with how well he's done at point guard that he was ever anything else? I mean, since he's
very versatile. He's very versatile, and we still play him. We still play him at the small forward spot or big guard spot when we go to 4 guards. When we sub, he immediately goes to that big guard, and we go 4-guard lineup with Bryce and Zach. So he's doing that for us, but we knew from day one we wanted to put him at the point guard position because it gave us something very few people in the country have, and that's somebody at 6'9". You're preparing for a 6'9" point guard. Now you may think you can get up in him, you may think you're going to have to prepare for somebody at 6'9". We can post him. We can do an awful lot out of him. He sees over people. He's a great passer. He thinks pass first. We've wanted him in that position from day one, and through 10 games, he's done an outstanding job proving he can play that.
You hear guys like Kobe Bryant say Madison Square Garden is the mecca of basketball. Yeah. For you, how would you describe Madison Square Garden?
Well, it's not Newcastle Chrysler Fieldhouse, but yeah, it's one of those special places, that I grew up watching, and Sunday afternoons, you'd come home from church, and I can remember sitting with my family, and you'd watch the NBA games. And at that time, way back when we wore short shorts and TV coverage was a little different. You only had one game a week, and that was on Sunday. And you could almost bet every other week there was going to be that premier game was going to be in Madison Square Garden. So as a youngster, you grew up, understanding what the Garden was all about, and I was very fortunate. We played UCLA in the Garden. Reggie Miller's team beat us in the championship my sophomore year in the NIT final, so I got a chance to play in Madison Square Garden. And then a few years later, to be able to play in Madison Square Garden when I was in the league for 4 years. So it's just a very special place because of the players and the coaches and the tradition that have gone through that building. It's nice to know there's still enough tradition in our country in basketball to where you still have buildings like that still have basketball being played in because it's a special place.
You had a milestone win there, too, as a coach there, right?
Yeah. What game was we played?
Is it your first win at Iowa?
Yeah, was that in Madison Square Garden? It was UConn. Yeah, we played UConn and then got beat by Stanford. So I guess that wasn't Madison Square Garden because that was preseason. I think preseason IT. So we've been up there a few times as a player and a few times as a coach, but it's just it's a neat city, a great basketball town, and a lot of history and tradition with the Garden.
With Kyle, how much of a difference has it made in him being able to shoot? He's shot really well, especially from long range.
I think that was his next step. I think Kyle's next step in growth when it came to his offense was the ability to make shots. And he's really worked hard on, he didn't really have a hitch, but it was a very slow release. And he's done a very good job of working on that to where it's a one-piece release. Once he starts it, he goes with it. We talk about elbow lift when you talk about good shooting, and he's got the elbow lift. So at 6'9", it's hard to block his shot. It's hard to get to his shot. We just have really tried to work with him, making sure he knows don't lean back on things. And he's shooting the ball at a really high level right now, and that's going to make our offense roll at even a higher level, because if you've got to worry about Kyle Anderson at the three-point arc, you're going to have a lot of concerns because he does so many good things inside the arc.
Are you still working on quickening his release a little bit more?
It's not so much quickening his release. It's just all one motion. He's just, I think, looking at him preseason, it had a little bit of a hitch to it, and now it's all free-flowing. And I think that's why he's shooting it better. That's why he's got a lot of confidence right now. His teammates are finding him, but he feels good about it because it's all, a jump shot should be all one smooth happening, and I think he's got that right now.
If there's one facet of the game, other than coming away there from their little win, if there's one facet of the game that you want to see growth in, what is that out of this one game?
Well, we've talked about it for weeks. We've got to mature defensively. We've got to continue to develop. I think our habits that we've got to form and work on are at the defensive end. We've got to become tougher-minded. We have to be concerned about getting consistent stops. And I thought we took, after watching tape a couple times Prairie View, we took some steps forward. We had 30 really good minutes defensively, and then we had 10 that we just kind of went through motions, and we can't do that. And so we still got work to do, but we saw progression going from Missouri to Prairie View just in our attention to detail at the defensive end. And if we can create those habits against a team like Duke, then that's really going to help us in January and February of how we want to play.